A white paper by the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas concludes the record number of illegal immigrants during the Biden administration had a big impact on housing prices, rents, and employment growth. The Federal Reserve Bank says their working papers are preliminary drafts and that the views expressed are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas or the Federal Reserve System. This working paper was released in March and called Impacts of Unauthorized Immigration on U.S. Labor and Housing Markets. The report says the large increase in unauthorized immigration into the U.S. from early 2021 to early 2024 added roughly 7 million people to the U.S. population, nearly double that of legal immigration. The report said the illegal immigration is responsible for roughly 30% of total employment growth over March 2021 to March 2024. It also finds about 30% of the total growth in house prices are to blame on the large increases in illegal immigration. And that same problem is responsible for 20% of the total growth in rents. Republican Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne of Irving posted the report on her X account, and we spoke with her about this.
We've actually been saying this for a number of months now. I don't think people sometimes understand the ramifications of having so many folks enter your country illegally in such a short period of time and the financial disaster that it causes. And I want to make sure that people heard those numbers. It caused an increase in housing by 30%. It caused an increase in rental rates by 20%, which, when President Trump was running for this position for a second time, he was very clear to say, we have got to focus on deportations. There's a reason why. Look at what happened to the housing market. And as a direct result, by the way, what you're seeing now is prices coming down. You've had over 3.5 million people either self-deport or have been deported, through this administration, and it's having an immediate reaction in the market on housing. We have to continue that.
What's Congress doing about it?
When we look at our Working Families Tax Cut bill, it actually put provisions in there to be able to support Immigration and Customs Enforcement and CBP, Customs and Border Protection work, to make sure that they were going after folks that were in our country illegally and committing crimes. And I think that is something that people voted for, and that's what we're taking seriously.
You recently wrote a letter, and I think there were other members of Congress who signed it, urging the Trump administration, the Vice President, and the Secretary of State to investigate allegations of H-1B visa fraud. Where does that stand?
The administration is absolutely taking it seriously, but one of the things I think drew my attention to was when you looked at the fraud numbers and the HB1 numbers that were happening, the HB1 visa numbers that were happening in North Texas, specifically in Irving, Texas. They're taking the letter serious, and that letter was signed by Congressman Pat Fallon, Congressman Ronnie Jackson, Congressman Brandon Gill, all from North Texas, urging, because we're seeing it in our own backyards, urging the administration to not only look at what the fraud numbers are, but also work with the agencies to figure out what we need to do in Congress to be able to fix it. And so we are still working with that. I think we're taking a much more aggressive, much more engaging approach with the administration to prevent that from happening. But look, we had jobs that were being created for these phantom visa holders that were affecting Americans being able to get jobs, that were affecting Americans being able to get paid, what those job numbers were going for, because all of a sudden you had folks who were coming here from other countries that were taking advantage of this program, getting paid much less than American workers for doing the same thing, which was driving down wage numbers.
Let's talk about the job fair that you hold annually, again in early August.
August 6th this year. August 6th from 11 to 3 at Globe Life Field. But we have over 550 businesses right now that have 550 businesses right now that have already shown an interest, representing well over 30,000 job opportunities. In previous years, about 30% of those jobs have been $100,000 and above jobs. So this is not your typical job fair. This now represents the largest job fair in the country. And it's going to be August 6th. Again, from 11 to 3 over at Globe Life Field. And for those people who want to find out what industries, it basically covers the gamut of industries, healthcare, law enforcement, academics, technology. Really, there's an
Multiple industries.
infinite number of industries, from the starter jobs to CEO and C-suite level positions. It doesn't cost anybody anything to come. We're covering all the costs for the job fair. All the businesses participate, at no cost.
If you're interested in the job fair, you can check it out at myntxjobs.com. It will be held at Globe Life Field on Thursday, August 6th from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m.